The woman who played one of the most famous moms in movie history almost quit fame, by choice. Catherine O'Hara didn't chase Hollywood. Hollywood kept finding her. Most people remember her as the panicked mother from Home Alone. Loud. Anxious. Always running late. But that role hid a much quieter truth. Catherine O'Hara was never chasing fame. In fact, at the height of her career, she walked away from opportunities most actors would kill for, not because she failed, but because she chose to. She left Saturday Night Live before it made her a star. She avoided Hollywood scandals that destroyed careers around her. And for decades, she stayed famous without ever becoming loud in real life. Behind the comedy was a woman balancing ambition, motherhood, privacy, and a deep fear of losing herself to success. This is not just the story of a famous actress. This is the story of how Catherine O'Hara survived fame by refusing to let it own her. Catherine O'Hara was born on March 4, 1954, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. She grew up as one of 7 children in a working-class household. Her father worked for the Canadian Pacific Railway, a stable but demanding job that shaped the family's structure and expectations. Her mother worked as a real estate agent, contributing to the household income in a practical, unsentimental way. This was not an artistic or privileged environment. It was functional, busy, and crowded. Growing up in a large family meant competition for attention. Privacy was limited. Individuality had to be asserted, not assumed. O'Hara later showed a pattern of standing out quietly rather than aggressively, an instinct that can be traced back to this environment. Creativity was not framed as a career path in her home. It existed alongside responsibility, not above it. One of her siblings, Mary Margaret O'Hara, would later become a respected singer and artist. The presence of another creative voice in the family mattered, but it did not create a safety net. Artistic ambition still came with risk. There is no record of Catherine being pushed toward acting as a child. There were no formal auditions, no stage parent narrative, no early fame. She attended school in Toronto and did not pursue formal acting training. This absence is important. Unlike many actors of her generation, she did not come from drama school or conservatory culture. Her skills developed informally. That lack of institutional validation stayed with her and later shaped her preference for collaborative environments over solo stardom. Her entry point into performance came through the Second City in Toronto, not as a star, but initially through backstage and support work, including waitressing. This mattered. She entered comedy through proximity and observation, not entitlement. She learned timing, structure, and restraint by watching others succeed and fail in real time. In the early 1970s, Second City was not glamorous. It was competitive, improvisational, and unstable. O'Hara joined the performance troupe in 1974, working in an ecosystem that rewarded adaptability over ego. This environment reinforced habits that defined her career: listening closely, building characters collaboratively, and avoiding attention for its own sake. There is no documented evidence of early emotional breakdowns, rebellion, or public conflict. Instead, the record shows consistency. She learned to perform under pressure without needing dominance. This became a defining trait. By the mid-1970s, Catherine O'Hara had not yet chosen fame. What she had chosen was control over her work, her environment, and her exposure. That choice would repeat, again and again, even when larger platforms became available. Catherine O'Hara's career accelerated with SCTV, Second City Television, which aired from the late 1970s into the early 1980s. The show rewarded versatility, writing ability, and ensemble chemistry. O'Hara excelled not by dominating scenes, but by shaping them. She played a wide range of characters, many deliberately uncomfortable or exaggerated, without seeking likability. She won an Emmy Award in 1982 for writing, not acting. This distinction mattered. It reinforced her identity as a builder of comedy, not merely its face. Around the same time, she was briefly hired for Saturday Night Live. She left almost immediately when SCTV was renewed. This decision is often framed as loyalty or luck. Documented interviews suggest something more practical. SCTV offered creative control and familiarity. SNL offered visibility but instability. She chose the former. This pattern repeated. As film opportunities increased in the 1980s, O'Hara accepted roles that fit her temperament rather than chasing leads. She appeared in films like After Hours and Beetlejuice, working with strong directors but avoiding celebrity branding. Her most widely recognized role came in 1990 as Kate McAllister in Home Alone. The film was a massive commercial success. It made her globally recognizable. What followed is notable. She did not leverage that fame aggressively. She did not pivot into headline-driven roles or franchise building. She continued working steadily, often in ensemble films like Best in Show and A Mighty Wind, where status was flattened and collaboration mattered more than billing. In 1992, she married Bo Welch, a production designer she met professionally. The marriage was stable and private. They had 2 sons, born in 1994 and 1997. Publicly, O'Hara spoke about choosing roles that allowed her to remain present as a parent. This was not a marketing line. It is supported by the timeline of her work, which shows deliberate spacing and selectivity. There are no documented divorces, scandals, legal disputes, or public breakdowns. The absence itself is informative. In an industry where visibility often feeds opportunity, O'Hara repeatedly stepped back. She limited her own market value in exchange for personal stability. By the late 1990s, she was respected but not positioned as a power figure. She had success, but not dominance. This was not accidental. It was the cumulative result of repeated decisions to prioritize environment, family, and creative comfort over expansion. From the early 2000s onward, Catherine O'Hara worked consistently but quietly. She appeared in voice roles, independent films, and ensemble projects. Her name carried respect, not hype. The industry did not frame her as central, even though her influence was widely acknowledged among peers. This changed with Schitt's Creek, which premiered in 2015. As Moira Rose, O'Hara played a character that was theatrical, emotionally guarded, and absurd. The role used every skill she had built over decades. The show gained momentum slowly. When recognition came, it was overwhelming and late. She won the Primetime Emmy Award in 2020. Public narratives framed this as a comeback. That framing was misleading. She had never disappeared. The award reflected delayed acknowledgement, not resurgence. It confirmed what industry insiders already knew but had not prioritized. With renewed visibility came interviews and reassessment. O'Hara consistently resisted myth-making. She did not present herself as misunderstood or wrong. She emphasized choice. She described her career as intentional, even when it meant reduced visibility. There are no verified accounts of industry feuds, lawsuits, or public conflict. Media interactions remained controlled. Her public image, warm, eccentric, generous, aligned closely with her private behavior as documented by collaborators. This alignment is rare and measurable. In later years, she continued working selectively in television and film, including dramatic roles. She did not reposition herself as a brand or authority figure. She remained an actor who valued the work over the platform. Catherine O'Hara's life does not fit a redemption arc or cautionary tale. It demonstrates something less dramatic and more uncomfortable: sustained success without hunger for dominance. Her legacy rests not on power, scandal, or reinvention, but on consistency, restraint, and long-term credibility. That restraint limited her visibility. It also preserved her autonomy. Earlier in life, she had a rare congenital condition called situs inversus with dextrocardia, meaning her heart and abdominal organs were mirrored from their typical positions. She publicly mentioned this condition, but medical experts generally consider it benign and not directly life-threatening for most people. Catherine O'Hara died after midnight on January 30, 2026 in Los Angeles, California, after being taken from her Brentwood home to a hospital. There is no evidence that this condition caused her death. This kind of detail, illness shortly before death, breathing problems, hospital transport, and place of death, is as much documented as available. Neither her family nor representatives have released a specific medical cause of death.